all complete, and gutters as well.
I'm completely happy with that roof. Gutters had to be completely remade.
Yeah.
So they're brand new, front to rear, left and right.
Yeah.
So that's another job that we can tick off the list, completely finished.
Yeah. Speaking of gutters, I've actually got in my back pocket a piece of that gutter.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting piece because it's got what we call a safety edge on the top, so it rolls back over into itself. Some have them, some don't.
Yeah.
And it's got the bottom edge, which is it's a difficult profile to fold up. And if you don't get it like absolutely perfect, the drip roll moulding doesn't fit back on there.
Yeah.
So if it's a little bit tall, it just won't go over the top of it. The moulding won't go over the top of the...
So the outside of the roof actually goes over that piece there, eh?
Yeah, it does. It nests. It has a folded bottom edge and it just nests into there.
Yeah.
And if we make the drip rail too small, then the moulding will rattle around on it.
Yeah.
So you've got to be really, really particular with that profile as far as the height goes. So it's a nice job to have finished.
For me now, to have this roof complete, it just feels, I don't know, it just feels like this thing's coming along, man. It's actually happening.
It is a massive deal because it was a big part of the project.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of stuff that can really stifle you.
Yeah.
If you can let it get the better of you because there is a lot going on. Because my preference was to put a roof on it. It would have been easier to put a roof on it if we could have got a good roof, but there's that danger.
Yeah.
That roof then fails.
Yeah.
This roof is not going to fail.
Yeah.
It's got
solid.
Oh, it's all internally painted. It's got weld-through primers. Because it was pulled apart, there was nowhere where we couldn't get to with paint.
Yeah.
So it's protected now, and it'll get some rust proofing in there as well.
Yeah.
And we're pretty well on top of the firewall too. There's nothing jumping out at me that's left to do on it. And when I'm talking firewall, I'm talking from the footwell to the windscreen. So I'm talking the wiper panel, the inner, which I can't remember what they're called at the moment.
It's like there. It's
The plenum chamber.
Yeah.
The firewall itself, the bases of the pillars. So there was like a triple layer base in both the pillars that had failed. Finished. Obviously that's been off, rebuilt, back on, finished.
This side as well, eh?
Both sides.
Yeah.
While we were in there, we addressed that bit of rust that was in there.
Yeah.
So that's finished. The firewall's got 2 visible patches, plus that's a double skin.
And that's out of the donor wagon, that piece, and that bit there.
Imagine us having to hand make that.
Yeah.
Like, that's a tricky bit of metal to make. Yeah, and so what did I have to do? I just had to cut a hole, make that piece in there and weld it in, and it was done. So if you look at the car at the moment, we can say front's done, roof's done, sills are done. So the C-rise is done as well.
Yeah.
So that was actually a bit rusty.
Yeah.
It had to come out to fix the floor, so we've pulled it out and put the new metal on it. So it's not back in because we've still got to fix the floor.
Yeah.
But it's ready to go back in. So that's another part that's finished.
That hole in the boot that we spoke about last time, that cutting.
So you got a comment on that?
Yeah, that guy, I think his name was Clayton. He reckons that that was only done in the Sydney factory.
Interesting.
Only a few cars were done out of the Sydney factory for whatever reason. So
I made another observation.
Yeah.
So it was rusty, but it also had a couple of dodgy hole saw holes in it, and they weren't factory. You could see that somebody had smashed a hole saw through there.
Yeah.
Big burrs and ugly holes, and I think at the time I took the piss out of you, like, who's been drilling holes in this?
Yeah.
Well, I saw a video of an unrestored car with the heater out, and guess what? It had 2 very similar hole saw.
Yeah.
It's not an aircon car, is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So I wonder if they done, because factories, especially low volume, because in the big scheme of things, in a worldwide scheme, this is a low production car. You know?
Yeah.
It wasn't unheard of for them to do manual tasks to cars.
Yeah, right.
Especially for like an accessory, which aircon is.
Yeah. I wonder if like that guy, like whoever cut those things, and you wonder if he would just, maybe he was at home one day doing his own fuel sender, and he was just trying to like get his hand in there to get the thing out, and he just ended up skinning his knuckles.
Made a discovery.
And he's like, I'm just going to fucking chop a hole in there. I've had a guts full of trying to get this thing out.
Yeah, yeah.
And he just went in the factory that next Monday morning and got the gas axe out. Just went on a rampage, just cutting holes to like, before they stopped him and told him to come in. Before they fired him, maybe. And they just like...
Yeah, it's pretty random.
Yeah.
So at the moment, you've actually got a bolt-on panel that goes over.
There's a little cover, yeah, like a little screw-on cover.
And it's a nice factory stamped cover, isn't it?
Yeah, the cover's all looks.
So that tells me it's legit.
What's next then? What's the next move?
Rear wheel housings.
Rear wheel. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we're at now. It's time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice. I'm looking forward to doing them.
Yeah.
So rear quarters off because we just kind of tacked them on for auto-rama.
Yeah.
Just to make the car more complete.
Yeah.
So I just got to split a couple of tacks, and the rear quarters can be dropped back off it.
Yeah.
And we'll just attack those rear quarters. So we'll have some footage on that process.
That creak in the door, every time I hear that creak, it kind of like takes me back to my childhood. It's like I'm 8 years old again, because that creak has been there for about 30 years, I think.
Has it really?
Yeah. And it was kind of like, it's kind of like one of those, when you hear a noise that takes you back, gives you a memory, and it's like I can remember, Dad would come home, your Dad's home, you hear the creak in the door, or you kind of at a motocross event or something, so just interesting. Every time I hear that creak, when it's been in here or wherever, it's like a little memory that kind of...
Nobody had an oil can?
No CRC available back in those days, yeah. So, but yeah, a childhood memory from the door creak.
And you've got a few. You've got a few motorbikes in the back seat.
Yeah, motorbike in the back seat.
Yep.
Yeah, this is how I learned to drive. Was in this thing. Dad would be like, living in the country would just, can I go for a drive, Dad? Yeah, drive down to the runoff and go shift some cows. You can, you got to drive the car if you sort of were going to go do some work down at the runoff.
Yeah. Didn't mind helping out on the farm if you could take the statesman.
Yeah, as long as you could drive, you got to drive. So it was like a bonus,
Yeah.
8 years old, driving down the road, back in the days when you could probably get away with that sort of stuff a little bit easier, eh?
Yeah, local cop would drive past, give you a wave.
Yeah, so he's off to shift the cows, he's fine.
Yeah.